And a good evening, everybody from Pittsburgh. This is 31 more days with Brian and Ed. I'm Brian Carruthers, and let's bring in, of course, everyone's favorite showman, the king of quarantine, as they're calling him. And whoa! Please welcome Cobra Commander, everybody.
Hey, what's going on? How are you,
Ed,
my friend?
I see your. I can tell you're in the car, but why are you dressed like Cobra Commander?
This is my quarantine outfit. Today was my first time I went out and I had to go do a pickup at Sam's Club and get gas. First time I've gotten gas in 3 weeks. And this was my quarantine outfit, man. What do you think?
So give us a rundown. Who dressed you and what are you wearing?
Well, first I got the sunglasses on
Yeah.
and I got the tassel hat because I'm bald and it's cold today.
Okay.
And then of course I got my hoodie on. And then this I made. This was an old my wife got these masks made from somebody, and my head's
Okay.
too big, man. It was too tight to put it around the ears, and I need like a 2XL surgical mask that's not available
What
apparently.
isn't the thing that what is that, a pit like
This was a
extended turtleneck? Isn't that too thin? Won't the virus go through that and enter your body?
I'm doubled up, man. I got two.
Oh,
So so so
smart.
you can never be too sure. You gotta double it up. So
Yeah, right. I got you. Hey, let's give some quick hellos. People who are checking in. Hi to TJ. Hey, Bubba Snyder, my old buddy. How you doing, Bubba? Hope the taco business is off to a good start.
the
Joe
bulldog.
Volpe. Hi, Joe. Hi, Jamie. Now, Ed, tell us. We're in the middle of a shelter in place. Where are you going?
Well, I'm in the car and I'm safe in here. I got my kids in the back. We're here in McDonald. We're at MA's Ice Cream. This is the new times, man. My neighbor's birthday is today, and instead of doing a birthday party, which was canceled, we're all getting ice cream individually in the cars, and then parking the cars in the parking lot and sing happy birthday to them from the car, man. That's the way you got to do it now. Can't be around people.
Wow, isn't that interesting? So you've taken care of business.
That's it, man. You gotta be able to do it in the. See, I got two now, which was interesting. I took two tassel hats and I cut off the top of them
Yeah.
and made these, man. So now hopefully that protects me. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Now you got me paranoid. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Are they too thin?
I don't know if anyone knows what to do at this moment, right? Because like when my wife goes to Costco and she's going to go tomorrow, she has like a cowboy bandana
Yeah.
and she's going to just tie it around her face, and she did it before, and I guess it's thick enough, and maybe it's enough. I don't know. There's such
Well,
mixed messages on masks.
I will say this: I can barely breathe with that thing on. So, so it might
Like dark
suffocate me.
helmet. I can't
I
breathe in this thing.
I may not get COVID-19, but I could suffocate by the time I get out of the store. But
Hey, let's say hi to Tammy. Hi, Jason. Hi, Chris Loki, one of my favorite pilots. Hi, James. Hi, Marcy. Hi, Patty. My mom told me that we are in competition tonight with Holy Thursday Mass on TV.
that's right. It
And
is.
look, I get
It's
it. I
what no.
get it. It's
What's the
Holy Thursday night, always a special night in the church if you belong. But I would say that this show might offer you a little bit more tonight than Holy Thursday Mass.
and what was the what's the official name today? Monday Thursday or Monday Thursday? Is that the official name of it?
I
Monday
don't know
Thursday.
that. That's a good question. I just know it as Holy Thursday. So Jen, hi Jen. She said she heard 4 layers, Ed. So you're 2 layers short, man.
Well, I got this. This goes over top two. I'm actually at three if you think about it. So,
Okay.
but I'm still one short. So,
Isn't it
oh,
amazing the how fast things have changed? 3 or 4 weeks ago, if you told me you were going to wear that into Costco or Sam's Club, I would tell you, dude, they're going to arrest you. Like they're going to call the police on you. And
I look like
now, if you aren't doing it, they're going to call the police on you.
I looked like the Unabomber out there today.
You do. You look great. Yeah, I want to send a quick message. I want to hear from you, Ed, of course, about because of your personal take with your wife being a teacher, but it was called off today that Pittsburgh and all of Pennsylvania schools will not return for the rest of the year. At first, I thought, well, my kids are going to do cartwheels. They're so excited. But on the other side, I'm seeing so much social media that teachers are bummed and seniors are bummed. This is a depressing time for a lot of people in schools.
Well, I tell you what, man, this guy right here over my shoulder, Brendan Troop, my 6-year-old.
Yeah,
Um,
where's his
I'm,
mask?
yeah. Where is his mask? I'm extremely, extremely bummed out, man. I took him to kindergarten for the last drop off, which is now what 2 going on 3 weeks ago, and I didn't even know that was the last time I'll ever take him. So I'm kind of bummed. Cannon Mac, the school district we're in, is half day kindergarten. So I've taken him to preschool the last 2 years. I've taken him to the kindergarten this year, and it just sucks, man, because I didn't have that moment of this is the last time I'll take you. So I'm bummed, man. Starting next year, he'll be all day, and that stinks. And these guys like their teachers too. They like their friends. They're bummed out that they don't get to say goodbye to them in person. But
Especially
I
the
think
younger kids. Kindergarten teachers have gotten cuter over the years. My teacher in kindergarten, she was like 90 years old. And now you see all these beautiful kindergarten teachers, and you think, well, that must be great.
yeah, right.
Where's Mrs. Mahoney? She's 140 years old.
I still have a crush on my kindergarten teacher.
What
She's
was her name?
probably she's probably 85 years old now. No, probably 90 actually.
And you
Uh,
still have a crush on her?
not now.
Well,
Um,
right.
but it was inevitable, man. My wife called it a couple weeks ago. She's like, I don't think we're going back this year. And I said, why do you think that? She goes, well, how do you flip the switch and all of a sudden say we can get hundreds and hundreds of people together in a building when just a day ago or a week ago, I was putting on all this stuff and sunglasses and a tassel hat just to pick up an order outside of Sam's Club today. So
I know. It's
I,
crazy.
I think it makes sense. And like she said, why go back the last 2 weeks of the school year and take the risk? Because the last 2 or 3 weeks of the school year are useless anyhow. They barely do anything. So why, from an educational standpoint, why take the risk?
And now the talk is, will they even get back on the first day of school next year? Which is like, oh my God, can this really happen? I mean, this is a vacation for my kids. My kids
Brian,
are
I
8
lost
and
your
11, and
audio.
they're
I
so
don't know if
pumped.
you lost me, but I lost your
No, I still
audio.
have you. You still there?
I don't know if everybody else did or not.
Let's say hi to Dawn. Hey, Dawn. Hey, RJ Stafella. How are you, buddy? Hi, Adam. Hi, Amy. Hi, Jack. Hi, Kim. Welcome to Quarantine Talk. Hey, while we're trying to
I'm going to
get
log
Ed,
out, my friend, and then log
we're going
back
to
in.
log out of Ed and we'll bring him back. Tonight on the show, author David Finoli. David has written a book, a compilation book about Three River Stadium. So we're going to talk about him. Last night we went down memory lane with Brian Butko talking about Kennywood, which was really cool, and I think people had a good time with it. And so tonight we will have David Finoli, the author. Oh, and coming up next week, I want to tell Ed about this. I think he'll be excited to hear. Let's bring him back in live from outside of Moz in McDonald. Ed, next week on the show, Mr. Andrew Stocky will join us.
That's awesome, man. I'm so excited. Funny story. My senior year at Bell Vernon, I job shadowed Andrew Stocky for a full day at WTAE.
Well, wait till he gets to see you next week. He'll see how far you've come.
On this show with you. Here we are,
Right. He'll be like, oh,
22,
man, boy, I saw a lot of talent back then in 1996.
22 years later, and then look where we are. So,
Let's say
but
hi to
that's
Jen. Hi, Jen. And your neighbor, Scott Stoner, is watching. Ed, do you have an update? Did Scott cut his grass yet?
no, definitely didn't cut it today with all the rain and coldness that's going on. So Mr. Scott is still holding out.
He's my hero for sure. But we were talking about, you said that your wife is bummed that she's not going to be able to return and see the kids and do her thing.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, she teaches 8th grade and middle school, and that's a critical year right before high school, and a lot of emotions and a lot of stuff, especially the last month or two of the school year. She does a lot getting them ready to head out for high school the following year. So I think it stinks, man. The main thing that you and I have talked about are athletes. Imagine working your entire career through little league, pony league, colt league, middle school, freshman year, and then it's your senior year. You're going into baseball or softball, and that's it. There will be no season. So
Yeah,
that's
and
uh,
that's
that's
the
a
hard thing.
bummer.
Trying to set Cy up, um, who's 8, of course, same as your Ryan, and it's just not going to happen with baseball. Now, what's happening now? Give us an idea. There's something going on. Are you getting the ice cream?
We got the ice cream. Now I'm driving.
Where are you driving to? Home?
There's a little parking lot down here that we're gonna
Yeah.
pull into with the neighbors, and I guess they'll do their happy birthday thing. I don't know, man. I'm staying with you. That's how loyal I am. I'm not eating my ice cream. I could
Well, why
care
don't you
less about
bring
my
us
kids.
in? Well, we can all sing Happy
I,
Birthday if everyone's
I,
going to start singing.
I could care less about this kid's birth. No, I'm just kidding. I shouldn't say that because I think his parents have watched us. They might even be watching
Wait, is it
now.
a kid? Is it a kid or an adult?
It's Ryan's buddy. Yeah, lives next
Oh,
door.
I thought it was an adult. I was going to say,
No.
really, this adult needs other adults to come and sing Happy Birthday to him?
Yeah, no, it's he's 9. He just turned 9.
Oh,
So,
okay. Hey, Scott Stoner, your neighbor, said he's holding out on cutting the grass, but maybe this weekend.
well, you
Don't
know
do
what,
it, Scott. It's only the 9th of April. Don't follow all of your neighbors. I know you're bored. Don't do it.
Scott, I'll be watching. I am on the Scott. We like to call him Scooter. We like to call him Scooter. We're on the Scooter lawn cutting watch.
Scooter lawn cutting watch. I wish I had a graphic for that.
I know. I wish too. That's good.
Yeah. Now, what are we gonna? What's happening, Ed? Give us a rundown of what's going on.
My wife's yelling at me that my MA's is going to melt, but I'm not going to eat it. I'm going
Well,
to eat
let's
it
see
after.
it. I mean, let's
You
see
want to
it,
see
dude.
it? All right, hold on. Wait a minute here. Here we go.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. There you
Oh
go.
my God.
Look at that.
Oh, dude.
This is one of your favorite places, right?
Oh, I love MAs. If it's still open for takeout, you got to get it. Now, tell everyone what you got. That looks like a Blizzard or like a rip-off Blizzard.
That's what the yeah, it's the rip-off version of the Blizzard. It's I call it a swirl, and that is
Okay.
a pretzel strawberry swirl.
Oh, pretzel, strawberry swirl, vanilla ice cream, and Moz, they do it up right, man. I mean, they give you so much ice cream. Well, let's see you take a bite. What are you holding back for? You're not going to eat it during the show?
And now I'm being told that it's going to melt. So wait a minute, hold on. I gotta
Yeah, don't
bear
lose
with
out
me.
on it.
Bear with
Make
me.
sure those kids behind you are socially distancing.
They are. They're back. You can see them back there. They're in the hatch. They're
Okay.
well. They're well away. Dude, this is like. Hold on.
What do you think? Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute.
Oh, Ed, this is beautiful.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
Hi, Holly. Hi, Mark. Hi, Candy. Hi, Dina.
Here you go.
Candy's
Here we
asking
go.
where MA's is. That's in beautiful downtown McDonald.
Here.
Next time in whoa, look at that, Ed. Whoa, you almost
Mm.
ate the whole spoon.
Very good.
Wow. Ed, you almost ate the whole spoon. I love it. Now describe, make it like the Food Network show. Tell me what you're tasting.
Got some pretzels in here, some vanilla
Mm.
ice cream, some strawberry.
Mm.
The strawberry makes it feel healthy. The
You know what?
strawberry
If you eat more MAs, you're going to remind me of somebody else.
there you go. Our friend Big Debbie.
Big Deborah, how do you feel? Are you closer to now that we're 3 or 4 weeks into quarantine? Do you feel like you're closer to Little Debbie or Big Deborah?
Well, despite this bottom view of my double neck and eating ice cream with you, it probably looks like I'm Big Debbie. I told you, man. I've been keeping up with the working out and the eating
Good.
right, and
You
other than
look great.
this will be a treat tonight. So,
Well, dude, you look great. I think that you're closer to Little Debbie than you are Big Deborah.
I've embraced the quarantine, being home and
Yeah.
being there. There's nothing else to do, man. Honestly, what else can you do? I mean, I guess you could eat, but I've elected to go for the workout.
Hey, our buddy Mark, who's my neighbor. Here's what's interesting. We had that big storm last night and the night before. Half of my neighborhood lost power and was told it was going to be out till Friday. Mark was one of them. He had extension cords going from his buddy's house to his house to keep his refrigerator on. But good news, I got a word from him today that the power is back on. The Athanas household is back in business. And Mark is announcing he'll be cutting his grass tomorrow for the third time this season.
Third time, Mark. Holy cow, man! I cut mine for the second time yesterday, which is 2 more times than my neighbor Scott. But yesterday I cut half of it. I didn't do the whole thing. I just did the front because it was running late and this show was coming on, so I had to get ready for the show because this show is more important than anything. So,
but isn't it? I mean, number 3, Mark. I mean, you are committed. I'd like to know with Mark, was the first one because Alyssa, his wife, said get on out there, and now he can't stop. Now that's the
right.
Stoner effect, right? Scott Stoner, your neighbor, he's holding out because everybody knows as soon as you make that first cut, you're going to have the next one, and next thing you know, it's going to be 90 degrees and you're cutting every day.
Dude, you got to cut it every single time, man. You know what I mean? Especially this time of the year too. Like this next month, a month and a half. And I always joke with people that my yard looks like PNC Park this time of the year, but by the time we get to August, it'll look like Heinz Field in December. It'll just be all yellow, burned out. I'll be taking green spray paint and spray
Yeah.
paint in the field.
Yeah. Now, Candy said that her neighbor cuts the grass at 7 a.m. and not a minute later. That I think has to be against, unless Candy lives out in the cut, that has to be against some covenants is somewhere that this is happening. That should be illegal. That shouldn't happen.
Well, that's always brings up an interesting thing. Like, how early is it during the summer to go out and start cutting your grass? Because my wife always, like, I'll go out at like 9:30, 10 a.m. and she'll start yelling at me like, "That's too early. People are sleeping in. It's Saturday."
No. I think 9 o'clock is appropriate. 9, I think, seems good.
I think 9's good. I think anything before 9 a.m. you're risking it. I mean, 7 a.m. Candy, that's insane. I mean, that is really early in the morning. I mean, especially
That's way too.
especially if you live in a populated neighborhood too.
That's way too early. Hey, I wanted to ask you, since we're in the middle of quarantine, I know we talked a little bit last night at the end of the show. Do you and your wife sleep in the same bed together?
Of course.
Well, my mom, of all people, my mom sent me an article today highlighting a quarantine term that's called a sleeping divorce, which is you use the bed for everything but sleeping, and to have a better relationship, you send somebody to a different bed.
Well, that's
Your thoughts?
interesting. I will say this. I think you've been saying this too. You've had a hard time sleeping at night, and I have as well. For some reason, especially the last week or so. So one thing that has kind of been going on is, including last night, is I'll sleep for like 10 minutes from like 11:30 to 11:40, then I'm wide awake. So I've been going in the other room and throwing the TV on because I can't put the TV on in the room. I'll wake up my wife and
Right.
then watch the TV. Finding some horrible show to watch for an hour or two.
Well,
Though
dude,
last
maybe
night,
she needs a sleeping divorce from you, because then if she goes to another room, then you can turn the TV on and be happy.
that'd be beautiful. That'd be beautiful. Though last night I hit the jackpot, my friend, at 1 o'clock in the morning. The movie Glory. Glory was on.
Oh, Matthew Broderick, Denzel,
Dude, I was
and
hooked.
those two guys team up for one of the greatest stories about American
More
war, the Civil War ever, where Denzel runs the only black squadron in the Civil War that's fighting for the North. It's beautiful.
Morgan Freeman. I mean,
Oh, Morgan, that's right.
I know you totally forget Morgan Freeman's in that movie, but there he
Oh, it's
is.
such a great movie. Did
And
you watch the whole thing, or did you fall asleep?
no, man, dude, when a movie like that comes on, I'm wide awake, man. I'm wide awake. I'm watching that whole entire thing.
Yeah. Hey, let's say hi to Chef Dan, all the way from Legend in the North Shore. Hope you're doing well, Chef Dan. Thanks for all the support. And hi to Kristen and Joanne. Hi, Michael. Hi, Christina. And Alex is here. He said he hopes that everyone is doing well. But hey, that sleep divorce thing is something to consider, because every night I fall asleep while Marcy and I are watching a TV show. No problem. I always fall asleep no matter what it was. But then when I'm asleep, I deny that I'm asleep, especially if I start snoring and I get into an argument, because my wife will give me the bump and say, "You're snoring, go to sleep, roll over," or something. And I'll go, and I know I am. And I'll go, I'm not asleep. And she'll go, "We're snoring." And I'll go, "I was watching every second of this show." And then I try to argue with it. Maybe the sleep divorce thing is a good idea. Maybe it could save it. The article did say it saves a lot of relationships, especially during quarantine.
I think it's a great idea, man. I think it's something to really look into for sure.
Yeah. Hey, just an update here on that grass. Scott Stoner says double digits on the clock is fine for him. So
Can you
10 at
still
the
hear
early.
me?
Yeah, I got you. 10 at the
I've
earliest. He's
lost you again,
Stoner.
my friend.
Oh, okay. You there, man? I think everyone can hear you.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Now, Mark said that the CPAP saves relationships. I personally do not have a CPAP. Not that it would matter that much, although I know you get that dark Darth Vader kind of feeling going on with the CPAP. But I'm glad that has saved your marriage, Mark. But maybe the sleep divorce is something you should think about here in quarantine. And I want to get Ed back. He's buzzing in, and we also have David Finoli, who is an author of the new book on Three River Stadium. Great news for him that the Book is sold out, but I guess more are now going to print, which is really, really exciting news. And so we're excited to talk to him in a few minutes. Let's just bring Ed back in before we bring in David, because I do have an update on the Tiger King, Ed's favorite show. And let's see, where's that at? Here he is. Let's bring Ed back in. He's at a kid's birthday party, so a lot's going on tonight. Hey, Ed, are you there?
I'm back.
You back? Great,
Yes.
man. A lot of people are saying that the CPAP machine has saved the marriages in bed.
In mine, it has. I'm on my second year using that machine, and my wife's my snoring used to be so bad. Well, you've had to witness my snoring before, unfortunately, throughout our friendship. And does that sound weird? That doesn't sound weird. We've been to games overnights and
So what? We've
shared
been in
hotel
bed
rooms
together.
and whatnot. But you know, my
We've been in bed
snoring's
together.
horrible. But not anymore, man. Not anymore. I got the CPAP machine working, and my wife does
Yeah.
not.
Do you look
hear
like
me
Darth
at
Vader? What's
all.
the thing
Dead
look
silent.
like on your face? What does the thing look like on your face?
I can't hear you again. What's going on with us
Oh
tonight?
no! Oh no! It's a birthday party. Alex is saying that he thought technically it was used to save the life of the user. I guess that's true. And then Jen is saying that it does. My husband's still alive because I don't kill him from snoring so loud. Well, there you go. Hey, here's the update I wanted to give you quick. I know a lot of people are loving the Tiger King. Well, Netflix has announced the Tiger King will return for a new episode this Sunday night, Easter Sunday. Everyone knows that the only time you really can enjoy Tiger King is on Easter Sunday. And Ed, Tiger King is going to return with a new episode where they're going to talk to people, everyone but Joe Exotic and Carol Baskin. They will not be a part of it, but it will be hosted by Joel McHale, who used to run The Soup. And I'm looking forward to it. I'll watch it. I guess I'm looking forward to it because I literally have nothing else to do, even on Easter.
And that's this Sunday. That's Easter Sunday. The Tiger King returns, man. I'm pumped. I cannot wait to check that out and get some more Tiger King on. Tiger King has taken over the nation.
Yes. And Trump said yesterday in his briefing that he would, I guess his son tweeted something about the Tiger King, Joe Exotic, and Trump said that he would consider pardoning the Tiger King. I mean, good to know that America's still crazy amongst all this coronavirus.
I know. Seriously, can you imagine that? I mean, during a press conference talking about all the things going on right now, and then the Tiger King somehow makes it into the presidential press conference, man. Holy
During the
cow.
coronavirus.
During
That has to be, and, none of our politicians are scientists. We know that. But the conversations I envision Trump having with Anthony Fauci and Dr. Birx, I mean, they have to be almost comical at times. And then for them to stand up there and hear that he took a question about the Tiger King, I don't know. These are true American heroes that they're sticking with it. I would be gone by now. I'd be like, you know what? Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this isn't for me. Hey, Ed, are you having any luck there from McDonald's?
Oh man.
You're on a little bit
What's
of a
that, buddy?
delay. So yeah, you're on a little bit of a delay. Maybe it picked up. But hey, while we are fixing the delay, let's bring in our guest for tonight, Pittsburgh author David Finoli. He's got a brand new book about Three Rivers Stadium that is so popular that I can't get my hands on it. So we'll bring him in to talk about it now. Hi, David. How are you, man?
I'm great. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Not a problem. Happy to do so.
Hey, what part of Pittsburgh do you live in, David?
I originally from Greensburg. I live in Monroeville right now.
Okay, got it. So what are you doing for, obviously you're a journalist, you're a historian, two things that really go along with being out in the public and seeing people and hearing and feeling and touching the world. Does something like this drive you crazy, the quarantine?
It was. It was. I also am a human resource manager for both departments.
Okay.
So we have just started back to work last week, doing some online stuff. But before that, in one end it was a little bizarre, but in the other end, I was able to get a lot of work done. I have a book coming out with Chuck Cooper's son, Chuck Cooper III, in another month. A story about his father, who is the Jackie Robinson of the NBA.
Wow.
fascinating story. It's going to come out on the 70th anniversary of the drafting of Chuck Cooper by the Boston Celtics. So we were able to get a lot of work on that done. And the group of us who wrote the Three Rivers book are writing a book on the 60th anniversary of the building of the Civic Arena. So I was able to get quite a bit ahead on that project.
Wow, so you got a lot coming up for Pittsburgh history enthusiasts. But let's talk about the Three River Stadium book. How is it set up? I know you said you have multiple authors or contributors in it. Is there one story that you start with that you feel like is most important to tell about Three Rivers?
Well, we start with two. Tom Rooney, who was the former president of the Penguins, starts off by telling us about the roots of the North Side, where sports really began in this area. You had Exposition Park there, where the Pirates played, which would flood every time there was nothing other than a wall that separated the river from Exposition Park. So you had to have rules. Basically, if something hit a puddle, it was a double.
Wow.
Fred Clark, the manager of the Pirates at the time, would invented the pulley system to cover the infield because it was so bad. So you had that. You had the first spots of professional football, where it was actually first played near the north side.
Okay.
By Pudge Heffelfinger, and then the Rooney family, which had some professional teams over there. So we go into that and what the north side was like at the time. And then the second article I do basically is about how long it took to get Three River Stadium. It wasn't something that came up 4 or 5 years before it was built. It actually came up in the mid 1950s.
Wow. So what year was the last year at Forbes Field? 1969?
1969. So it's just an incredible story about bureaucracy. They had decided they needed a new stadium and approved it. They sold Forbes Field to the University of Pittsburgh, who wanted to increase their footage out there, which is what they eventually did. But it ended up they wanted this stadium built by the early '60s.
Okay.
Bureaucracy, a lot of dealing with unions. That wasn't going well for the city, and it took a good 8 years before the thing actually started being built in 1968. And then, of course, it was supposed to be ready first part of 1970, and ended up going to mid-July before they were ready with that. But just a fascinating story of the tale of Three River Stadium.
Well, and so drastically different, right? When you think about the architecture of Forbes Field with that classic ballpark feel, to think that Three River Stadium, and I don't know if it was in the same architectural design in the beginning, but to go from Forbes Field to just this ridiculous state of the art, what maybe felt like that in 1970, Epcot, weird space landing thing.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, what a drastic change.
Well, it actually was a couple different things. It was an open-ended stadium, much like PNC Park when it was first designed. And then they actually had a design where they put a very huge bridge across the river, and they were going to build it right in the middle of the bridge.
Anyway, explain what that means. So you had the point, and so the original idea for Three River Stadium was it was going to be built over the river.
It was going to be over the river. That was one of the designs of it early on. It was. We have a picture of it in the book. It was bizarre as hell to see that. But the first design of it was going to be like PNC Park, like Royal Stadium, something that might have lasted through the years. But inevitably, the costs were too much, and they took the same design that they were doing in Atlanta and Cincinnati, which cut the cost quite a bit. And that's how you got the cookie cutter stadium, the River Stadium.
As if we're not being awkward enough already.
Wow, very cool and very interesting. The interesting part on what came and what went really was how did they finally decide on what they wanted to do?
It was just a point in time. Pitt was getting frustrated. They wanted the Pirates out of Forbes Field. The Steelers had already moved from Forbes Field to Pitt Stadium earlier in the decade in hopes that would get the situation moving a little better. So it just came down to that, and finally, in the late '60s, they got everything together. The bond issue was floated, of course, which they owed more money on the stadium at the end of it than when they first decided to build the thing.
Okay.
And it was, as I said, it was just government gone bad throughout the whole existence of PNC or Three River Stadium.
It's funny when I think about PNC Park. I guess let's take the blackout game out of the conversation for 1 minute. But
Right.
still hold Three Rivers as Pittsburghers as more important than PNC Park because one, no one significant has played at PNC Park, and two, no significant games have been played at PNC Park.
No, exactly. I mean, to me, a stadium, I mean, people complain about the look, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But it's the memories you create inside there. It's seeing Roberto Clemente throw from right field to third base and throw somebody out. Seeing his 3,000th hit in his last major league at bat. Steelers were, I mean, generations after us don't realize just how bad the Steelers were. They were the embarrassment of the NFL for the first 40 years.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they get their first real home at Three River Stadium, and Dan Rudy just with his group that included Bill Nunn Jr. just magically turns this team into one of the great dynasties of all time. On that field, how many Hall of Famers did we see play? I always tell the story of being at the Immaculate Reception, where my father hated traffic and hated losing. He was a sore loser. So I'm on gate C when we hear a roar in the stadium, not knowing when we get to the car exactly what happened. So my dad lived to 100, and that was a story I used to jerk him around about till the day he died.
Oh no! So you were on your way to the car during the Immaculate Reception?
I was an 8 or a 9-year-old kid at the time, 9 or 10, and yeah, we were on our way to the car because Dad hated traffic and figured, well, at least we'll get out of here because he's used to the same old field. He's thinking this is going to end up the way it's always been.
Well, I give you a lot of credit for telling people that you were in the parking lot and missed it, because I feel like every sports fan and probably every Pittsburgher lies about where they were during most games. And a lot of kudos to you that you're telling us the truth on it.
Oh, it was a funny thing. We didn't know what happened to it. I just assumed Jorella kicked the field. I had no idea what happened. We got to the car, and then you couldn't see the game for the next day because back then home games were blacked out. So Channel 11, I believe, replayed it the next morning, and that's the first time we saw the Immaculate Reception.
Wow. We're talking to David Finoli. He's the author of the new book on Three River Stadium. David, I saw on Facebook today you said it's sold out, so people are like already jumping on top of it. And are there more being printed even during the coronavirus?
It'll be fine. It basically, because of the coronavirus, there's obviously no stores it goes to at this point. It will be in all stores once they open up.
Yeah.
It sold out on Amazon in its first day, and I from what I'm told, they had a lot prepared, so it should be back up there in a day or two.
One game that stands out, and I think Ed and I were at this game together, and obviously there was so many great Pirate games and Steeler games, but the last Pitt versus Penn State football game was at Three Rivers when Walt Harris defeated Joe Paterno, and from my memory, that was a madhouse more than anything I ever remember a Steeler game being.
Oh, it was wild. Pitt played all their home games there that last season because of the destruction of Pitt Stadium. And Rod Rutherford, the great quarterback, ends up catching the pass to win the game for all intents and purposes as a receiver as a freshman. But yeah, I remember that well. It was just a fabulous out. And until they replayed the series in 2016, Pitt fans had always there. Well, we beat you the last game.
That's it. Everything got magical that last year of Three Rivers. Even the Pirates, I guess, were somewhat competitive, and maybe people were more excited about PNC Park. And of course, then they did that crazy thing where they had the Rocket Man, and I think Ed and I were at that game together, where Rocket Man took off, and everyone in the stands thought he was going to die when he left Three Rivers to go put home plate at PNC Park. It was a magical time, I think, in the in the progression of old stadium to new stadium, from old to new. And at the time, if you remember, Jason Kendall was trying to be wooed, so he was included in a lot of that ceremony as a way to try to keep him around, and obviously that didn't work.
No. They had the money. They spent the money when they went to PNC Park, and they just spent it stupidly. On men like Derek Bell, and almost went bankrupt 2 years later because of it.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Hey, David, obviously a huge Three Rivers Stadium fan. Anybody our age that came up through there. I still to this day can remember 1986 going to see my first Pirate game there. I can still remember 1990 going to see my first Steeler game there, and in both occasions just being amazed when you would walk around the circle and look and you'd peek through. Of course, our seats were always up high for both baseball and football, so we didn't have the club seats or anything. But you would look at that level as you're working your way up around and just being amazed by the stadium, what it looked like. Do you feel the way that I feel? I think a lot of people do. PNC Park definitely way better for baseball, but for football, man, I got to tell you, I miss Three Rivers Stadium for football. I think there was no place like, because it was closed. It was so loud to watch a football game there. Just the atmosphere. I really miss Three Rivers Stadium when it comes to football.
Oh, I 100% agree with you. There was nothing better than a playoff atmosphere there. I mean, you could just feel the noise, and it was intimidating. And from what I'm told, it was too expensive to redo the stadium to what the Steelers needed, which is a shame because I mean, Heinz Field is nice. I mean, we certainly uh, enjoy games there, but it's just
Right.
nowhere near the atmosphere you had at Three Rivers. I think that was the perfect football stadium. You're correct.
Well, I guess in comparison, though, the Steelers have made more memories at Heinz Field than the Pirates have made at PNC Park. So people probably still feel like Heinz Field is good enough, right? Because there are at least some AFC championships. There's some Hall of Fame caliber players as well. So, but I agree with you, man. I thought that Three Rivers was if you go back maybe when 100 years from now, if you go back and you watch video or whatever they're watching, holograms or whatever, Three Rivers Stadium will still hold up more than PNC Park. Is just a really intimidating, dirty, dark place to play football.
No, it was amazing. It takes me back to the AFC Championship in 1995, which is probably the loudest I ever heard that place.
Right.
At the end of the game, when the ball falls to the turf,
Hail Mary. Yep.
the Hail Mary, and
Captain Comeback.
we were waiting 25 years for that. I was a freshman at Duquesne in 1979, and we just thought these things were gonna keep coming, and nobody knew it was gonna be not 16 years before you get back to a Super Bowl, and just the feeling that day and the noise that day is something I'll just always take with me.
Alex has a question for you, David. It's kind of interesting. Was there any talk? Was there any talk that Three Rivers was going to survive and be updated the way they did with Lambeau Field or Soldier Field?
There was talk, not seriously, because they decided quickly that it would just be cheaper to build a new stadium.
Okay.
Again, I understand the logistics of such things, but with what they would have to do to make it, give them the boxes they needed to survive and get to that point, I guess was just a lot more to do in there than it was to build a new stadium. And realistically, if you look at the cost of Heinz Field, they didn't do it expensive. It's not a outrageously expensive place even back then. But
Yeah.
but that's the major reason that they didn't redo Brewer Stadium.
Yeah, interesting. And is your book, David, available digitally? I know that we're out of copies at the moment. Can people get it online?
Yeah, they can get it. Amazon should have it within a day or two. Barnes and Noble online, I'm assuming, should have it at that point. And if they want to get it directly, they can go to Arcadia. Just type in Arcadia Publishing or the History Press, who is the publisher of it. That's a division of Arcadia, and they can get it directly from the publisher.
David, was there one thing that you learned? I know that we all have living history because we lived through Three Rivers some of the years. Is there something that you learned in the book that blew you away that you just couldn't believe was actually something there that you didn't know?
Well, this was weird, and it actually came about as I was researching Chuck Cooper. Is he got shot at Three River Stadium in 1973 at the exhibition opener. Some guy was, and I didn't remember this happening. I was a kid at the time, but I never remembered this happening. That there was a guy in the upper deck who just shot a gun randomly,
Oh my!
hit one woman in the foot, and apparently, if Chuck Cooper wasn't leaning forward at the time, he would have been killed. He got a bullet in the thigh. Somehow, and I just following that just stunned the hell out of me as I was reading that, because I had no idea that even happened, much less Chuck Cooper was the man who got shot.
Wow.
But most of it, I mean, I got to tell you, I almost flunked out of Duquesne in '79 because I was at the stadium every night watching the Pirates. My
That was worth it, though.
Oh, and, my dad was not happy with me when he got those first semesters, but I rebounded, got my degree, so he was okay.
But in your defense, he did leave the Immaculate Reception game early.
And I pointed that out to him at one point too.
Right.
So it's
and I guess you think we haven't been back to the World Series since 1979. You actually were, it was a precursor for your career now to take in history while it was happening.
Oh God, it certainly was. I mean, history and sports are my two favorite things, and being able to merge them together to form the career I have in writing is just something I pinch myself every bit. It's what I always wanted to do, and unfortunately didn't get started until I was 40, and it's been on a nice roll since then.
David, what was your favorite game at Three River Stadium, baseball and football?
Baseball, I'd have to say the 1979 Game 3 of the NLCS, my favorite because the Reds just owned us in the 1970s. And this got the monkey off our backs, being able to not only sweep them, but we blew them out that day. It's 7-1, I believe. And you could just relax and take it all in. We were in the cheap seats under the scoreboard, and we ended up moving around and just enjoying that whole moment. And again, you just thought they were going to keep coming. You thought that team was going to be able to pull off some wins, and I think that's part of the reason it's my favorite baseball game is it never came back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And football is probably 95, just because, again, waiting so long for it to happen again. The other one would be the 76, it was in 76, it was 75 AFC Championship game. It was an ice bowl. The Steelers covered the field, which created thick ice on the field because it was so cold that day. And, just being able to beat the Raiders and staying to the end to see it this time.
I remember seeing highlights of that game. I think it was Terry Bradshaw or somebody sliding, and there's this ice that's like popping everywhere off NFL films.
That was in '78. That was in '78. That one. That was another icy, nasty day. I unfortunately wasn't at that one, but that was a memorable. They scored 17 points in the final 2 minutes of the first half to crush them.
I'm glad you didn't say your favorite game was the '95 and not the '94 Sean Gibson game against the Chargers, where it was broken up there at the end. That might be the most painful football game we've ever seen there.
Yeah, that was bad. I probably sat in my seat a good 15 minutes before I had the courage to stand up and go, because I was just so irritated.
Right.
And only because it was such a guaranteed win, right? I mean, they didn't even belong in that game. It was just like a bridge game to the Super Bowl, and we just couldn't do it.
I mean, a tight end, I forget his name, but he catches these 2 bomb passes. He's not even a good tight end. Stan Humphrey, not a great quarterback by any stretch. I mean, it was fluke. It was a pure fluke.
David, who's a contributor to the book that we would know, and we'll plug it again for you to hopefully get it rolling.
Well, Chris Fletcher used to be the publisher and editor of Pittsburgh Magazine. Tom Rooney, of course, the president of the Penguins. Josh Taylor, who is a sports mentor and does a nightly show on the CW Sports Show, is there. Paul Alexander does our intro, and we have most of the group is friends I've made over the years from Duquesne University.
Yeah, how great.
School journalism.
Well, how great. Hey, David, we'll put the link up on our website, our Facebook, everything we can do to help promote it. And thanks for taking us down memory lane tonight. Three Rivers is definitely missed, and I think you're helping bringing it back a little bit.
Well, it was a fun project, and when you research a thing that has so many memories, it's just a joy.
Right on. David Finoli, thank you so much for being with us tonight, and good luck in quarantine.
Thank you.
Thanks,
You
David.
too.
Thank you so
You
All
much.
right,
too.
there
You
you
guys
go,
take care.
David Finoli, everybody. That's the new book on Three River Stadium. Ed, what is going on in your car?
Well, everybody's done now. Everybody's getting in. There's yelling going on. I felt bad during that interview because I was like, please tell me you didn't hear all that yelling and screaming, but I think you did because I saw your facial reaction. So I apologize.
Well, I'm turning your wife into
Child abuse.
into child abuse. I think someone was letting something melt all over their hands. They'll never make that mistake again. That's the
exactly
problem with
it.
Ma's ice cream is there's so much kids can't eat it fast enough.
It does, and then you throw in. I'm using the app tonight for what we use to stream this through Facebook. I'm usually on the computer with it, and
Yeah.
so you throw in all the technical. There was times where I couldn't hear you, but I could hear David. There were times where I could hear David, but I couldn't hear you, and I had to keep logging out and logging back in. And
Yeah.
here we are. We worked it all out. Fascinating though, man. I wish we'd have some more time with him to talk about Three River Stadium because there's so many good memories there. One thing I wanted to ask you was non-sports related. What do you think is one of the biggest events that ever happened at Three River Stadium?
Well,
Bruce Springsteen played there, I think. U2, I think, played there.
yeah, I think Guns N' Roses played there. Billy Joel and Elton John played there. Dave Matthews played there. A lot of great concerts. They did a countdown when Three Rivers got blown up. There was a countdown of like the 20 best memories, and I wish my brother Pat was watching this or jumped on. But there was some sort of game where Chuck Berry was going to play after the game, and his contract was he had to go on by midnight or 11 o'clock or something. And they were also giving Roy Rogers chicken out after the game to eat while the concert's going on. And I guess the Pirates went into extra innings for like an hour and a half or 2 hours against the Mets. For Darryl Strawberry hitting home run after Barry tried to come on the field and he was taken off by police. And then Darryl Strawberry, he rounded home plate. He started quacking like a chicken.
Oh, really?
And someone on the Post Gazette, I think, rated that the number one moment in the history of Three Rivers. Maybe that was just the silly.
Oh, dude, that's a pretty unique moment. And Pat Carruthers would know that. He would know all that trivia, especially behind something like that.
Absolutely.
We need to have him on sometime. But I definitely think. Well, I know what I was going to tell you now. Is of course I interned with the Pirates for a summer. If you remember, I did all the announcing work for the high school baseball games they used to play during the summer, and so which was awesome. I mean, you want to talk about. And by the way, I'm not driving now. My wife is. I was switching seats, so now I can talk to you for as long as you need me to.
Great.
But talk about just an awesome opportunity to be able to announce in Three River Stadium. But when you walked up to the press box, there were photos of all the non-sporting events that took place at Three Rivers. That's what made me think to ask you that question, because I remember seeing Bruce Springsteen and Billy Joel and Elton John and U2 and all those just different huge acts that when they came to Pittsburgh, Three Rivers was one of the biggest venues that they could host that type of artist.
Yeah, no doubt. Plus, Three Rivers was where you met Katie. First night ever. Dave Matthews, 1999?
2000, year 2000, July 3rd, 2000, which will be 20 years this July, which is kind of crazy. You and your beautiful wife, Marcy, introduced us. And we're supposed to, it was Dave Matthews Band concert. It was my first Dave show with you guys. And we're supposed to go this July 3rd. Dave Matthews is coming back. But at this point, who knows if that concert will still take place or not, man. I hope it does. But right now, I don't want to go sit in a crowd with people. Do you?
There might be a better chance Three Rivers will be rebuilt this summer than Dave Matthews coming to town to play music.
Yes, that's very, very true. But man, Three River Stadium though, just such great memories. And one thing that we probably should have talked to David a little bit more about too was the implosion that morning of, and just how crazy that scene was. We were standing down at Point State Park, and as it came down, there was this huge rush of dust coming over from the North Shore, blowing on the Point State Park, and everybody ran for their lives because it was like all the debris and everything was just blowing across the rivers. It was crazy.
Yeah, that was a crazy moment. Crazy moment. All right, Ed. I think it's great that you got a chance to have a kid's birthday party tonight. I saw online that some volunteer fire departments, if your kids are having birthday parties, they'll come through the neighborhood with
that
like a little
yesterday.
parade.
Yeah, last night we did that. That was our other neighbor. So we have both sides of our neighbors have birthdays the last 2 days. The other one was last night in the Cecil Township in Muse. A shout out to the Cecil Township and Muse fire departments. Dude, they not only, I thought like when they said they would come up through your neighborhood, I thought they'd send like one fire truck. They sent
Yeah.
every fire truck they had. There were 12 fire trucks, full size fire trucks with sirens on, coming down through our neighborhood, through our cul-de-sac. If you didn't know what was going on and you lived maybe at the beginning of our plan, you probably thought something just blew up somewhere. I mean, that's what type
Well,
of
maybe you should
response.
send them a message and tell them it's your birthday just for fun tomorrow night. We can watch it.
Just to
Don't just
say,
send one of your kids out though to make it look like you. But it's like when you go to a Mexican restaurant, you lie to them that it's your birthday and
right.
sombrero on you and sing. It's
they,
fun.
they come out and sing.
Yeah, it's
Um,
fun.
I'm going to send them to your house. How about that? We'll send
Great. I would love to see them. I'm always supporting firefighters. I love those people in blue.
I feel like I'm one of those reporters, like when there's an inch of snow and then you like turn on KDK or WTA, they have the one reporter in the car, like, yeah, it's snowing here on Route 19. There's been an accident. And you know what I mean? Like when they're traveling in the car,
Yeah,
which I always think is ridiculous.
I agree with you. I don't understand it. But yeah, you got to be everywhere with news. Action news is everywhere.
I mean, I'm everywhere for this show. I did not want to miss out on the show tonight, so we made it happen, man. This
Alex
is
just said, while there's a family watching their house burn down, wondering where the fire department
well,
is.
it's funny Alex says that because I swear to you, a great point. I was thinking about that last night. I was thinking to myself, well, all these fire departments are here. What happens if there was an event that happened somewhere across the township? Could they get there in time? I don't
My
know.
buddy Mike just commented that he is a firefighter. As a firefighter, we do things big. No doubt, man. I mean, maybe some things with the firefighter are a little phallic, the giant truck, the big ladder, the giant hose. But I like that. I'm a guy. I dig it. I get it, Mike. I like it. And
Yeah.
Mike's a smart guy when it comes to fire, man. We'll be looking at houses together and he figures it all out, man. So once a firefighter, always a firefighter. Thanks for the
Wow.
comment, Mike. Thanks for the comment. Well, hey, Ed, I'll let you go. We'll end this for tonight, the big show.
Well, don't
And
end it now. I'm home. I'm
will you
home
be on
now.
tomorrow? Will you be back tomorrow for another day?
Of course I will. What's coming up on the big show tomorrow?
We can find out.
Well, our producers are working 24 hours a day amidst the coronavirus to bring us the best guests.
Now it got dark in here. See, and I'm in my garage. That's really
Yeah,
bad.
I have to. Sean Gibson from the Josh Gibson Foundation does wants to come on. I think maybe tomorrow or Saturday. Sunday is Easter, so I guess like do we have to observe that? We don't want to compete with Easter.
Well, last Sunday we were taking it off, and then all of a sudden we were back at it. So
Right, we
that,
went
that
after it. And then Andrew Stocky, I believe, will be on Monday or Tuesday. So we have a nice little show as we go into what I was hoping wasn't going to happen, but it feels like we're going to be renewed for 31 more days.
yeah, I think so, man. I'm not sure, especially with school being back in session now.
Oh,
We could have been extended. So,
yeah.
are you excited to be a teacher? Did your teaching contract got extended another month?
I've been working with my son on his recorder.
How's that going?
And I mean, I don't think he's Kenny G yet, but
Can we
we could bring him
get a
in.
good laugh out of
Maybe,
Katie on
maybe
that
he
one?
could play. Maybe he could play Hot Cross Buns and Merrily We Roll Along. We could judge him.
Oh my. You got a good laugh out of Katie on that one about the Kenny
On
G
what, the
pop,
recorder?
the recorder. Why don't you bring Cy on with the recorder tomorrow night?
I was going to say, I wish that we could have a musical guest here or there to come in and play us out at night, play a song or even a cover song. We need music at this time. We need some hope, and music is the universal language.
Let's do it, man. Bring him on and sing a. Maybe you can bring on. What do you play these days? You have that guitar, don't you, somewhere around
I
there?
do. I have an acoustic guitar right here.
Yeah,
Ellie
throw that.
plays the saxophone. Marcy, that plays no instrument. She used to play the saxophone. We could bring the Carruthers family band in.
Let's do it, man. I think we should tease that for tomorrow night.
The Carruthers family band.
The Carruthers. It's like the Partridge Family, right? Very similar to the Partridge Family.
Yeah, I can carry a tune. We can sing some songs of hope. Maybe we can sing some Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
My neighbor dresses up with a fake mullet and goes by the name Don A. TJ just reminded me, so he could come in and sing. Although the songs that Don A sings are a little X-rated. I don't know if they're ready for this show.
That's phenomenal. I mean, Don A. That sounds like, is that Donnie Ayers? I mean, that's what I thought. Yeah, we get
It's my
Donnie Ayers
neighbor
on.
Dan who told me that at an event he puts on jean shorts and a mullet and a hat and goes around and just like is kind of like a stoner / surfer. And he sings, he dances. He's pure entertainment, man. He's pure entertainment.
Not to be confused with my neighbor Scott Stoner.
No, Stoner doesn't do that.
No, maybe we're on the Stoner watch for, like I said at the beginning of the show, for the grass cutting. We're going to keep an eye on that for tomorrow night as well.
Well, Ed, have a great evening. It was great to see you. Thanks to our guest, David Finoli. I don't know how to pronounce any of our guests' names. Last night,
I'm not sure if I purposely lost
Brian.
Brian or not, but I've lost you again. Is that a sign that we're done?
I think that's a sign we're done. All right, Ed, good night, my friend. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Ed and I will return back right here on Facebook Live tomorrow for more fun, more guests, more quarantine chat. And until then, I wish you all good night.